Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap, your nightly news podcast on all the news that I come across throughout the day, giving you my take as somebody who aspires to be a politician in the near future. Today is July 15th, and it is Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everyone. It's been an interesting week so far, to say the least. But we're making it by. So hopefully, all you guys are doing well. Definitely been an interesting day in the news world. There has been a second vote failing to, kind of force the DOJ to release the Epstein files. Trump burned food instead of giving it to children, and so much more. With that being said, let's get into the news. Oh, before I start this, I would just like to say, if you're on Substack, this is your friendly reminder that if you are wanting to subscribe, until Thursday, will be your last day. But if you subscribe now on Substack, you will get 20% off of your subscription for the entire year. So if you're interested and you want to help the channel out or the page out, subscribe on Substack for 20% off for the rest of the year. It'd be really cool. But let's get into it. The first topic we have today is Pam Bondi has fired her top ethics advisor. Pam Bondi has fired one of the top career officials who was tasked with advising her and other Justice Department officials. Joseph Terrell took to LinkedIn to post the news of his termination, including a photo which did not provide the reasoning for his termination. Terrell said in a post, "Until Friday evening, I was senior ethics attorney at the Department of Justice, responsible for advising Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General directly on federal employee ethics. I was also responsible for the day-to-day operations of the ethics program across the department." This letter that he received mirrors multiple sent to other fired officials in recent weeks. This is really interesting. Firing people without an excuse, for one, is so messed up. I mean, nobody should have to lose their job and not know the reason. But the worst part is thousands of people in the government have had to deal with that because of this administration, and it needs to end. So many people have lost their job without being provided a reason due to the budget cuts and so much more. It is a regular thing for the Trump administration to do, and it shouldn't be the case. At the very least, should be getting a reason provided as to why they lose their job, because when they go for a next job, that's something employers are going to ask. They're going to ask, how did your last job play out, or what happened at your last job? Moving on, Trump has called for the prosecution of Senator Adam Schiff for something that he has done on numerous occasions. In a new True Social post, Trump has called out California Senator Adam Schiff, who, according to Trump, has committed mortgage fraud, even though Trump is essentially the king of fraud charges. In a post, he wrote, "I've always suspected Shifty Adam Schiff was a scam artist, and now I learned that the Fannie Mae's Financial Crimes Division have concluded that Adam Schiff has engaged in sustained pattern of possible mortgage fraud." Adam Schiff said that his primary residence was in Maryland to get a cheaper mortgage and rip off America when he must live in California because he was a congressman from California. "I always knew Adam Schiff was a crook. The fraud began with the refinance of his Maryland property on February 6, 2009. He continued through multiple transactions until the Maryland property was correctly designated as a second home on October 13th, 2020. Mortgage fraud is very serious, and the crooked Adam Schiff, now senator, needs to be brought to justice." It's really funny that he's calling people out for things that he has done on multiple occasions for that. What a hypocrite, truly. If you look at Trump's fraud cases, you can see a list of all of the fraud if you look it up. And there is one that shows up that is 8 pages long. It tells you everything you need to know. Between 2012 and 2015, the Trump Organization listed many of their properties at double the value, also creating mortgage fraud. Truly a little hypocritical. He's acting like he hasn't done worse. I mean, don't forget about Epstein. But as for the senator, if this is true, and if he has committed mortgage fraud, he shouldn't be in office. Nobody who is actively committing any form of crime like that should be in office. Fraud is an important thing, and it is something that should be condemned. So if this is the case, he should step down and be removed from his job. But it is very hypocritical from Trump, to say the least, that he is the person out of all people calling out this senator. Moving on, Trump has had $40 million bounty crowdfunded. A crowdfunding effort claims to have raised $40 million as a bounty for the assassination of Trump. The campaign has been organized by a group called the Blood Covenant and comes after multiple radical Iranians issued fatwas or death warrants. The website says, "We pledge to award a prize to whoever can bring the militants and those who threaten the life of Deputy Imam Mahdi. May our souls be sacrificed to him for the justice of their actions." This website also pictures an image of Trump in the crosshair. This is absolutely wild. To be able to crowdfund $40 million for, someone to be assassinated is absolutely crazy. I mean, yes, Trump bombs their country, and the United States doesn't have the best history there, so I can't blame them. But genuinely, it's wild. I got a lot of comments when I made my TikTok about this, saying that I was going to be arrested for making this claim, or I was committing treason. I just want to preface, I'm just bringing the news, brother. Like, I'm not calling for the death of anyone. I'm not saying someone should be bat or anything like that. I'm just telling you the news and what's going on. Of course, if something like this is in the headlines, I'm going to talk about it. Fox News talked about it, and they're not committing treason. I mean, to say that I'm committing treason for bringing the news and saying that it's crazy that people were able to crowdfund $40 million, I mean, come on, dude. Come on, really? Really? Calling me stupid. Sorry, I had to talk about that. I got like multiple TikTok comments about it. It was so dumb. Moving on, Trump is telling Republicans to gerrymander in Texas. Trump is pushing for Republicans to redraw state congressional maps to create more House seats favoring Republicans. When asked if Trump would add GOP-friendly districts around the country, he responded, "Texas is the biggest one, and that'll be 5. In a response to this, California Governor Gavin Newsom said 2 can play at that game. This comes after Newsom said he would do the same if Texas attempted to redraw their congressional districts. This is going to be great fun to watch. As much as I don't like Newsom, at least he's willing to stick up to Trump. I hope he isn't the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. I mean, he has failed on so many regards in California, to say the least, and I just really don't think he'd be a great president. And the next presidential candidate, at the very least, should be progressive, but the Democratic Party will never do that. Truly, the death of the Democratic Party will be their failure to platform these individuals. But at least Gavin Newsom is willing to stick up to the current administration. Do I think he's going to make an attempt at becoming president next year during the Democratic primary? Absolutely, absolutely, he will. Do I think he should be? No, I think there are better options out there, 100%. And it shouldn't be him. I like, as someone who's grown up in California, lived in California all my life for the most part, rather than a few random months in Oregon, you know, I've lived out Gavin Newsom's whole term as governor of California, and he hasn't done jack. He really hasn't. I mean, gas prices have gone up, and that's been because of the administration and other things. But he's also failed to manage the homeless crisis. I mean, he just pushes it out to Central California and so many more areas. Not to mention, he's failed at high-speed rail and so much more. He is not a very successful governor. The only thing he does do well is hating on Republicans. Moving on, Trump has ordered the government to incinerate 500 tons of food rather than giving it to children. Trump has given the order to incinerate food instead of sending it to the people who need it. Nearly 500 tons of emergency food, enough to feed 1.5 million children for a week, is set to expire within weeks, and it will be turned to ash, even though it was meant to be sent to children in Afghanistan and Pakistan. The food is already being stored in Dubai, where the Trump administration halted foreign assistance, so it hasn't been distributed. The cost of destroying the food will be $130,000. This is absolutely disgusting. There is no way that, it is so much more work to bring food to children who are already in the general region and are hungry. I mean, the fact that we're wasting so much food with so many people hungry is absolutely horrid. We could be doing so much good here. Yet it's just being put to waste for no reason. I guarantee you it is so much easier to just give food to these children or at least donate it to local food banks in India. I mean, come on, do we really need to burn it? That just seems like a waste. It really does. It really does. I mean, there are people in this country who can't afford eggs, and we are burning food. Come on, bro. Like, really? Really? Anyways, moving on to our ICE segment today, we have something illegal again, as Trump will no longer allow migrants to seek bond. The Trump administration is declaring that immigrants who arrived illegally in the United States are no longer eligible for bond hearings. In a memo from July 8th, Todd M. Lyons, acting director of ICE, told officers that immigrants should be detained for the duration of their removal proceedings, which can take years. Lyons wrote the Trump administration and the Department of Justice, along with the Department of Homeland Security, had revisited its legal position on the detention and release of authorities and determines that such immigrants may not be released from ICE custody. Let's get something clear right here. The president does not have the authority to deny bonds to anyone, legal or not. This is illegal and not something the president or anyone within the Trump administration has the authority to do. Only the court system has the authority to do so, and none of them have done that. But yet again, this doesn't stop the current administration from doing something that isn't okay. I mean, time and time again, they have broken the law, and they are doing so here, yet they've been allowed to do so, and that is absolutely disgusting. If we allow the current administration to just put all of these people in prisons, we will have multiple cases much worse than how they are now. We already have cases of people suffering in ICE facilities, not being able to get the food they need, not being able to get the care they need. I mean, the next report is about a dude who had to wear shitty boxers. Boxers with shit stains in an ICE facility. That's not the full report, but that is a part of the report. Yet we have the Trump administration not only putting more people in these facilities, but making sure that people aren't able to get bond hearings. I mean, come on, dude. That is not only a waste of time, but it is on the borderline of a human rights violation, and that shouldn't be okay. The Trump administration needs to be stopped. This order needs to be blocked, and I know the Supreme Court is probably just going to allow it to go through because they're corrupt, and that shouldn't be the case. It really shouldn't be. Moving on, an Irish tourist was detained by ICE. Thomas, a 35-year-old ICE tech worker, Irish tech worker and a father of 3 from Ireland, came to West Virginia last fall to visit his girlfriend on one of many of his U.S. trips. He planned to return in December but was unable to fly due to health issues and was only overdue to leave the country by 3 days when an encounter with ICE landed him in custody. He spent 100 days behind bars with no understanding on why he was being detained or when he would get out. He was sent back to Ireland in March and has been banned from entering the United States for 10 years. Thomas said he did everything he could to notify authorities of his situation, but it didn't work out. He said he and fellow inmates were treated less than human. He said his jumpsuit consisted of pants and brown ripped underwear with shit stains and didn't even have a shirt, saying the jumpsuit even contained bloodstains and holes. This is insane. He did everything right and still ended up in ICE custody. This really proves that nobody is safe. Truly, anyone who is coming into the United States should be worried. Not to mention, he only overstayed his stay by 3 days, and now he is banned from the country for 10 years. That is genuinely insane. These conditions aren't surprising. It's been the reports that we've heard throughout ICE facilities throughout the country, and it is still absolutely fucking disgusting. Genuinely, it is. These facilities, at the very least, should have better conditions for the people who are in them, and the fact that they don't is insane. The Human Rights Council needs to do an investigation. They really do. Moving on to another segment, as the House has had, debates over the Epstein files the past few days. House Republicans have blocked a second attempt to release the Epstein files. House Republicans voted down another Democratic movement to release the documents related to Jeffrey Epstein, marking the second time this week after a vote failed yesterday or earlier today. Democrats already are telling voters that this won't be the first time that this issue is dealt with. The House vote ended in a 211 to 210 votes, measuring against the measure forcing the DOJ to release the files within 30 days. Democrats claim this is about protecting children, but Republicans have resulted in calling the lawmakers conspiracy theorists. The files need to be released, and if they are, and not a single Republican lawmaker is in them, we know why. There is a reason why Republicans refuse to release the files. They need to be released, and they need to be released unedited. It's going to happen one way or another. It's just a question of if this administration releases them or not, and if the ones that this administration releases are real ones. I guarantee you, if there is not a single Republican in those files, they are in them. That is why, front and simple. I mean, there is 100% a reason why the Republicans refuse to release the files. I mean, the next topic is about Mike Johnson demanding the release of the Epstein files, yet he voted against releasing them twice. I mean, it's not adding up, brother. It's not adding up. But let's get into that next topic. Mike Johnson has demanded the release of the Epstein files. House Speaker Mike Johnson has called for the Justice Department to release the Epstein files. Johnson said in an interview on Benny Johnson's podcast, "It's a very delicate subject, but we should put everything out there. Let the people decide it. I agree with the sentiment that we need to put it out there." He said Pam Bondi needs to come forward and explain the situation to everybody. You know, it's interesting to see Mike Johnson's plate here when he is essentially Trump's top ally in the House. This is going to make people talk about the files again a lot. After they were kind of dying down to some degree. But I wouldn't be shocked if the files sent out weren't accurate. I mean, if we don't see any Republicans in there, I guess we'll know. But it is absolutely crazy that he said something like this when he voted against the files being released twice. Like, come on, dude. Really? Really? How are you going to go on social media and do this whole PR thing for your followers just to not vote for the files to be released? Come on. Stick to your word. Like, that is the entire Republican Party right now. They're all saying to, kind of quell back their fan base after everyone's pissed off about them cutting Medicaid and so much more, and now they won't even release the Epstein files. They've got all these supporters who don't even want to vote for them anymore, and they have to come on here and say, oh yeah, we're going to release the Epstein files. And then you guys all vote against it? Come on, dude. Really? That's some BS. I wish Republicans would call their, leaders out on their BS as much as the left does, because it needs to happen. I mean, every day I go out and have to call some lawmaker out on their bullshit. Not every day, but pretty frequently I do have to call a lawmaker out on their bullshit, and I wish Republicans did the same. I really do. Moving on to the other news segment, we have one topic here today, as a Republican congressman is getting evicted for not paying his rent. Florida Representative Corey Mills is facing an eviction lawsuit due to him failing to pay thousands in rent for a Washington, D.C. property. The case filed in the D.C. Superior Court by Bosanito Management Company said the congressman did not pay a total of $84,000 in rent between March and July. The monthly rent for the property is $20,833. The initial hearing is set for September 8th. Mills claimed on Twitter that the payments had only failed to process, and that is why the situation is at where it is. Man, it sucks. It really does. It must suck being kicked out of your $20,000 a month apartment, when you know who else is going to be experiencing this? The millions of Americans who won't be able to afford living costs because you passed the budget bill. If it really was a failure to process payments, this man must have some bad karma outside of already voting for the budget bill, because, I mean, holy shit. Holy shit. I mean, Millions of Americans, because of you, are going to probably lose their homes, are probably going to struggle to eat, and so much more. And you're complaining about being evicted from your home. I mean, this is your fault, brother. It's your fault. It really is. You should have paid your rent. You're living through the same thing that millions of Americans are going to have to live through because of something which you did. I mean, it is really just karma. It really is. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching this episode. I hope you all enjoyed. If you're on YouTube, please consider subscribing, dropping a like, dropping a comment down below. We're on our way to 500 subscribers, and I would love to get there by the end of the summer if that is possible. Of course, we have around a month or so until I go to college, so we have around a month or so to maybe gain 300 subscribers. That would be really cool. So if you're new here, drop a subscribe. If you're on Substack, please consider subscribing. All funds go to me. They'll help me pay for the things that I'll need to pay for in college, like food and clothing. Remember, if you subscribe now until Thursday, you will get 20% off. So essentially, it'll be $60 for the entire year if you do the year subscription, or $6 a month for the entire year instead of $8. So, if you're interested, please do it. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching this episode. Truly do appreciate it, and I will see you all in tomorrow's episode. Later.